Hey, this is Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, the Big Bad Booty Daddy, and you listen to IcoPod, the best podcast going today. Holler if you hear me.
And welcome back to IcoPod. It's episode 65. We have finally arrived to the March to WrestleMania 10. I'm Bob Conley Jr., and he may be burnt out and fed up with doing IcoPod, but by God, he is powering through this for a month vacation. It's Austin Skinner. How you doing, Austin?
Listen close, Bob. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
I fucking tap out, bitch.
Wow. So this is the end of IcoPod. After episode 66, you will not be hearing from us ever again. Austin has quit the show. So I'm sure Johnny B. Smith, hearing that, has just crashed his car. Mike Campbell, he probably doesn't know who to email anymore. He's like, oh, this is it. Various other guys.
Listen, okay? Just because I'm burnt out, because you've been working me like a fucking slave driver, okay, doesn't mean you tap out in one match, but your career ain't over. My career wasn't on the line. We're going to keep pushing ahead. There's only next week.
That's right. So be on the lookout for IcoPod 2.0.
Yeah.
Nothing will change, just the name, 2.0. We're revamped and ready to go.
The next one.
Every time Austin quits, all this 3.0, 4.0, 17.0.
So here we are. We've made it. We've weathered the 1994 waves, and they've been waves up and down, I would say. I was really, really excited for kind of watching these shows back to back, these shows being March to WrestleMania, WrestleMania 10, and really just getting into the thick of it, because of course when we watch, each Raw is roughly 45 minutes on the network, so it's a 45-minute watch, and then we're ready to record every week. This time was a little bit more extensive. I believe on the network, March to WrestleMania clocked in at about 145, and then WrestleMania itself clocked in at about 245. So it was definitely more extensive. It usually is for the large shows and pay-per-views. But having these two back-to-back and knowing kind of what's on the line for both of them made it, sitting through both of them, no problem for me personally. I know some of the last pay-per-views, not live watches, but some of the last pay-per-views we watched for IcoPod, the premiere series, I've had to break up just because it's like, it's almost not quite a chore, but it's a lot to sit through. These ones I powered right through, watched them within a couple of days of each other, and sat down start to finish and watched them. So I was definitely excited. I was excited for March to WrestleMania because I remember last year, which we've talked about, March to WrestleMania last year was better than the actual WrestleMania card in many respects. So I was really looking forward to it, and we'll get into it, but I do think it delivered. And I don't know. I think it really helped me get right into WrestleMania 10. Bob, where were you at without going too far into it?
I was far more excited for these two shows compared to last year, for sure.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how the last couple of pay-per-views, it was kind of rough to watch. The last pay-per-view that was rough for me to watch was Survivor Series.
Yes, I agree.
That was just brutal. And I think around that time, we were like, we're taking 7 weeks off from recording. because we luckily do 2 episodes every time we sit down, so it's like power through this, and like literally we record that in like I don't even know when, November or something. We didn't get back together until the new year or something crazy like that.
Yeah, right. After the new year, actually.
Yeah, so like, we took a long vacation because that just killed us both.
Yeah.
But yeah, the build up for WrestleMania 10 and the card for March to WrestleMania 10, just both of them are substantially stronger, I think, than where we were last year.
Yeah.
And as we'll get into it next week, WrestleMania 10 is one of my favorite shows, like one of my favorite WrestleManias growing up. And then obviously we'll talk about that next week. And I'm curious to see what we think about that show. And we might have some disagreements, but
I'm worried. You got me worried when you talk like that.
I gotta keep some suspense. There's no fun in us being like, oh, well, great match. Yeah, great match. Yeah, great show. Yeah, great show.
Okay, bye.
All right, see you later. There's no fun in that.
Right.
Also, before we really kind of get into this, there's a bunch of listener feedback and some happenings before March to WrestleMania 10 that we're going to talk about and discuss. So this episode and next week's episode are probably going to be substantially long. Yeah. And this is, I think, the good, like, because lately I feel like our episodes have been kind of straight to the point, not much depth into them.
Yeah.
This one's kind of like building you up for the spring, it seems like.
Okay.
But before we get into that, I will be seeing Austin in July. I am going to Orlando, Florida with 98 money, Hogan 98 money, Dallas.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to go see the AEW show.
Kind of out on a limb, because has anything even really been announced for that show?
I think the only thing I've seen that was announced was Kenny Omega against CIMA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is the right fight for the Fallen or whatever?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so that's the only match I've seen. Or, maybe Brandy Rhodes and Allie, maybe.
Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know.
I don't know. But yeah, like I just recently turned 30. Okay, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a heartbreaking time.
Yep.
And I feel like most of my 20s, and Austin, you've known me for the most half of my 20s, that I didn't really kind of go out on a limb and do a lot of things, whether it be traveling or anything like that.
Yeah, and we've touched on this before, Bob. You're very much a creature of habit.
Yeah.
So.
And for instance, like I'm going to Lake Placid in June, like Father's Day weekend, like I'm doing that, and it's just like, fuck it, why not? Let's just go do stuff. And Dallas had mentioned AEW, and at first I'm like, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna spend like $400 on a Florida ticket, whatever, for like a plane ticket or whatever. And then I was just like, you know what? I got money saved up anyway. I'm on my own. I live on my own. I have vacation time building up all the time. When I go on this vacation, my vacation's still building up on it. You know what I mean? So it's just like, why not take the week, see you in your own little hot and humid Florida. Hopefully I don't fucking pass out.
In July, it's going to be pretty fucking hot, buddy.
Yeah, so I'll be bringing a bunch of shorts.
Although Jacksonville's north, so maybe it'll be a little better. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. But so we're going to go see AEW. A lot of people know, like, I don't really watch a lot of modern wrestling. Obviously, I have an appreciation for Omega and the Young Bucks and all those guys, but
that reminds me, dude.
Yeah,
we can do our Georgia trip when you guys are down here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before we got on the air. I was like, if we're coming down on a Thursday, like Friday, we could go to the Scott Steiner thing or whatever.
Yeah, we got. Well, here's the thing. So have we talked about it on the podcast before?
We might have. I don't know.
I don't remember. Either way, so my plan was to visit Rick Rude's gravestone, his memorial.
Absolutely. Right. Yep.
Visit Scott Steiner's fucking Shoney's in Ackworth, Georgia.
Right.
And what was the other thing? We were doing one more thing in Georgia. Oh, we were going to try and see the Chris Benoit house. Because I think that would be cool.
Like the murder house?
Well, like his house.
Like the house that the murders happened in, though.
Yes, I guess. Yes, but the house, more or less, not because it's the murder house, but like the Chris Benoit house.
I don't think I'd be the only one to think like, oh, the murder house. Like that's what it's known as, you know.
Well, if you want to bring it to that, then yes, the
Oh,
fucking
that's
murder
cool.
house where people died in it.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna hit those 3 wrestling hot spots, all very different reasons, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I guess supposedly in the Shoney's, there's all Scott Steiner memorabilia, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting. And Atlanta, Georgia, in general, is WCW town. So fuck it, why not?
I wonder if any. This is a weird thing because like we could do that. I wonder if anybody's gonna have a show at like Center Stage that weekend.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Because that would be like where WCW held Saturday night all the time, like that
Right.
building. That would be
Right.
pretty neat to. I know Ring of Honor is usually there, but I doubt they'd be there while AEW's in town. But who knows?
Right.
All right. You got anything else, or should I just get right into this listener feedback?
I think we're ready for that, but yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to you guys coming down here. I can't believe you're getting on a plane, Bob. You don't seem like the plane type.
Oh, I've been on planes numerous times.
Okay. So yeah, that'll be fun. Looking forward to
I
it.
think I've been on a plane 3 times.
Okay.
Texas, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, you did do North Carolina.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've been on it a couple of times.
okay. All right. Well, I was doubting you. I guess I won't anymore.
Yeah, I'll be fine. It'll be a good time.
Oh.
All right, let's get into some listener feedback. Now, a couple episodes ago, and by a couple, I mean like probably a bunch. We talked about our top 10 favorite wrestlers.
That wasn't so long ago.
Yeah, I know. It was probably like 2 or 3 or 4, whatever.
Maybe
less,
4.
less than 10.
Yeah.
Episodes ago that we talked about our top favorite wrestlers to watch, not necessarily the best, but our top 10 that we like to watch.
Yep.
Our good friend Mike Campbell, he decided to pass along his top 10 to our email, which is icopodcast@gmail.com. So if maybe you're listening to this 3 years after the fact this is released, you can still pass it along to us and we'll get to it. There's probably a couple of guys on here that I am not going to pronounce their names right. His first one, yep, this is gonna be tough, is Jumbo
Saruta.
Yeah.
Jumbo Saruta. Really?
Yeah, there was no way I was gonna say like Tusutra.
Oh, Jumbo Saruta. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what though? To be fair, that is a common one amongst wrestlers. Like I know, for example, Kikutaro, or Ebisan, who is the Japanese guy with like the silly face mask. Mm-hmm. He loves Jumbo Saruta. I know Cole Cabana's a Jumbo Saruta fan. There's several wrestler personalities that are big fans of Jumbo Saruta. I always kind of found him a little boring, a little bland for me. But yeah, I think that's a good one.
So 2 like really comedic wrestlers are a fan of him. I'm assuming he's not comedic.
Well, they came to the top of my head first because I remember the documentary you passed along to me. They talk about him.
Right.
But yeah, several wrestlers, especially in Japan. He's a really big icon for Japanese wrestlers too.
Okay. And Mike has it noted here that in his opinion that Jumbo is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Wow. That's
some high praise.
That's an argument that people make. It is. So
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've never seen a match of his, so I can't even comment.
He's 70s, 80s. He's
okay, so he's older.
Yeah, he's back there a little bit.
Okay. His number 2 is Chris Benoit.
Oh, okay. And we brought him up several times when we went through our list. So
yeah, this is another one that I'm probably not going to get right. His 3rd is El Hijo del Santo.
Hijo del Santo is a Mexican luchador, legendary luchador. He's the one with the white mask. The white mask, the white cape, the white tights. Really classic sort of look. I haven't seen too much of him. I was always a Blue Demon fan. So the blue guy with the blue mask, the blue cape. Yeah. Hijo del Santo he's like, if not the Hogan of Mexico, pretty close. Like everybody knows Hijo del Santo. That's a good one.
Is he an 80s guy or 90s?
He's before that, I think. 70s, 80s probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Because El Santo is the original, his father, obviously. Same look. And he was huge too. Like he was a really big deal. So yeah, that's another good one.
Okay. I think I've seen Del Santo before.
Yeah.
The remaining guys, I can definitely pronounce their names, so no worries here. Ricky Steamboat is his fourth favorite.
Wow, that surprises me too.
Eddie Guerrero comes in as number 5.
Yep, and he was on my list as well.
Yep. Stan Hansen, number 6.
Okay. Gaijin wrestler over in Japan, most notably. I think personally I prefer Bruiser Brody over Stan Hansen, but you know.
Bret Hart comes in at number 7.
Very good. He was on both of our lists, so that's A-okay with me.
This one kind of surprises me. Like, I wasn't expecting to see this on anybody's list ever. Barry Windham comes in at number 8.
Whoa. That's way out of left field, brother.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I can get on board with that. But hey, this is his list. This is Mike's list.
Yeah. I mean, Windham in the late 80s, early 90s was supposed to be like the next Flair for NWA or whatever. And then like Lex Luger came in and kind of ruined that for the guy.
Right.
But yeah, he had some good moments and matches with Flair and all those guys. So I can see how it's a favorite. Again, this is favorites. Like I would have had Virgil and like La Parka in mind. So it's favorites. Like, you know, hey, whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny too, because I always, just from a perspective thing, for me, Barry Windham's always kind of been like a weird in-between guy. So he's not quite a lower level. He's not quite a higher level. He kind of flip-flops in between a lot.
Right.
So I don't know. I was never a big fan of Barry. I think he's a solid hand. But yeah, that's an interesting pick. I'm sure that he's not alone. I'm sure there's many other people with Barry Windham on their top 10.
Yeah, and like this, and the stuff that we've seen from Windham on IcoPod thus far. I mean, that's past his prime, kind of out of shape. His knees are going bad.
Right.
But they're not horrible matches. They're just, not lighting the world on fire like he was doing in like 87, 88.
Exactly.
Coming at number 9 is Bryan Danielson, also known as Daniel Bryan.
That's another fair one. You're going to get him on a lot of lists these days, rightfully so.
Sure.
Kind of a total package. Can do heel, can do face, can do the moves, can do the character. Does he lack size? Yeah, but I think he makes up with it tenfold in talent. So, yeah, I think that's another good one. Right. Almost immediately, WrestleMania 30 pops to mind. Right. Iconic, classic moment. So, I think he's a good one. He's not personally on my list. I'm not sure why he's not on my list, but I would akin him much to like a Chris Benoit as far as a just all-arounder. He's a guy you want if you got a baseball team of wrestling. You want him on your baseball team because he's going to close it out. He's going to finish it up for you and take the win home. So, yeah, I think that's a good one.
And he's a good example of a guy who's always been great in the ring and then got his personality later on and became like the full package, I guess.
Well, same with Benoit, though, really.
See, I don't know if Benoit ever really had the personality.
I think he did.
Pretty dry.
Well, once you hit the 2000s, before his passing, I think he had the character, the toothless aggression.
Yeah, but it wasn't really a care. I don't know.
It wasn't savage.
Yeah, but it's like an attitude, not like a personality.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then coming at number 10 is Terry Gordy.
Oh man, you lost me.
Well, the only Terry Gordy that I've really seen a lot of, because I've heard a lot of praise for his 80s stuff. Yeah. Like his runs in Japan and whichever, Mid-South, whatever. But the only stuff I've seen is when he was the Executioner in the WWF in 96.
Right.
Which is horrible. And then I believe he had like some kind of health issue and like he was like brain dead or like a little bit brain dead with his run with Smoky Mountain wrestling in 95. So like to me, Terry Gordy is not the greatest based on what I've seen. So I'm sure Mike has watched a bunch of Japan and stuff like that to kind of justify that.
For me, really, my only memories, and they're slim memories at best, is like WCCW stuff with the Freebirds, Terry Gordy. Mm-hmm. And that's just shots, run-ins kind of thing where the Freebirds would be in and out with, of course, the Von Erichs and all that sort of stuff. Just kind of another guy who was always just in the shuffle for me, kind of like a Barry Windham, where he wasn't really the top guy. He's probably getting the beating a lot in the matches. I don't know. I don't know where he falls for me. I haven't, you know what? I haven't seen enough of him to really accurately judge whether or not I like him. So for Mike, all props to him that he's totally on board. He wouldn't be on my list though.
And then he has a couple of honorable mentions, and they are Raven, Tito Santana, the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, and Marty Jannetty.
He's got quite the selection there.
Well,
very different all across the board.
Mike watches a boatload of wrestling. I know that.
Yeah.
I hope I have this right. I know he has his own blog, westernlariat.com, I think.
Oh,
hope I'm right.
Okay.
Where he reviews a boatload of stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of gives you like an idea of probably what he watches for the most part. I know a lot of it is older Japanese stuff too. I'm pretty sure.
I can't believe Jumbo Tsuruta is number 1.
Yeah, greatest of all time.
Wow. Okay. Raven makes the list. That's another good one. I think Raven's vastly underrated.
Not Johnny Polo Raven, just Raven.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's another good one. That's a really unique list. I really like how he's kind of has all of the boxes checked with those guys. So props to him. Cool list, Mike. Thank you. We appreciate that. Hopefully you guys liked our list that we went through. Our lists were a little bit more standard, I would say.
Probably.
Just in a classical sense. Although I had some niche guys on there. But yeah, interesting. I always like to see and kind of hear where our fans enjoy and our listeners enjoy, because sometimes we share, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
So.
Moving on here, Mick Price shared a comment regarding our Fall Brawl 93 live watch, and he posted it on the Facebook page.
Okay.
He says 2 things that he's listening to. He credits you, Austin, for your Lord Steven Regal promo that had him about on the floor laughing.
Oh, no shit. What was I saying?
I would have to go back and listen to it, but I remember you doing the like bloody hell and all these other things. I was laughing hysterically.
That's awesome.
And then on the same episode, we were talking about, what was all these Smashing Pumpkins posters like on Cactus Jack's promo?
Oh,
like what was
yeah.
He notes here that the references may have something to do with the Siamese Dream, which he thinks came out in '93, and it sounds like the cover of that album.
Gotcha.
So it could have been like a recent album that they were promoting in the area.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ian Matthews, he shared a comment on one of our episodes that probably around the one where Earthquake returned. He says, "Fine show as ever, guys. I've been looking forward to 1994 as it's when the foundations began being laid out for the next few years. It was odd seeing Quake coming back, though, as even though he had not been gone that long in early 94, he was still a throwback to the Hogan era. Big guy monster heels like him seemed a bit dated and out of place, which might explain why he didn't stick around too long." And then he continues on here by saying that, "By the way, I'd like to reassure Bob that there's nothing wrong with being 43. I've been there since June of last year, and it feels fine. Mind you, someone pegged me at age 34 in December, which I have to admit sounds way better than 43. Now, if you're wondering what's the context of that, one time I asked a female coworker, how old do you think I was? At the time, I was 29. She had guessed 43, and that just crushed my heart.
Well,
but more power to you, Ian Matthews, for being 43 and embracing it. I am dreading it, and maybe I won't even make it to 43. We'll see."
Well, that's just a great sentiment to add your 2 cents in on. I would say kudos to him for rocking it, Bob. I think once you get there, 2 years from now, you should be
no, not 13. 34 years. Not 2.
Yeah, well, you'll probably embrace it by then too. Yeah. So I think you'll be fine. Yeah. Also, it's really interesting that I want to kind of piggyback on him for this. Ian, you said his name was?
Yes, Ian Matthews.
I think Ian makes a very good point here, because when I finished up, and again, I don't want to jump ahead continually here, but when I finished WrestleMania 10, watching it, doing the notes, Fade to Black, For me, moving forward, the WWF post WrestleMania 10 and pre WrestleMania 10, I think are going to feel like two different worlds. Because I finished that show like, holy shit, we can never go back from this. It's like for me, it felt like a company rebirth almost. It really did. And we'll get into why that was and that sort of thing. But I just feel like moving forward from this show and next, it's going to feel different. WWF is going to feel different. And I'm really looking forward to it because I definitely picked up on, much like with Ian saying here, on just something felt more up to speed. I think we're going to continue to push the past in the past and move forward at a very rapid pace from here all the way out to probably whenever we finish IcoPod. So I am looking forward to it, and I think that's a really good point to bring up.
Well, the joke's on you because we are never finishing IcoPod. And I actually wanted to bring this up to you on air. Our good friend Dallas, again, Hogan 98 Money, has been watching Nitro from 2000. God bless his soul. He's loving it.
Okay.
And I mentioned to him that at some point we are going to get to the Monday Night War era. And likely, just because of our schedules and how much content we're going to be watching, those are likely going to turn into live watches.
Yes.
That's just how it's going to be. We're not going to be able to take notes. That's just how it's going to have to be.
Right.
And I mentioned to him, I was like, well, he had mentioned to me, he's like, I want to watch like from the first Nitro on, just to like get the context of like what was going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the whole thing. So I was like, well, hold off on that. You can join IcoPod and we can do live watches of that stuff.
Right.
So there was 3 guys in the commentary booth for Nitro. There's going to be 3 guys in the commentary booth for IcoPod.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Why not?
It's funny you mentioned that because maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, I sat down and did watch the first full year of Nitro. I went back. Yeah, I did watch it. But that's not to say that I wouldn't do it again, because getting into, and I don't want to go off topic too much here, but by the time you hit 95, really, really rocky in wrestling in general, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the worst years. Like,
yeah,
guys.
Just really, really rocky. But I think WCW does a good turnaround on that, I guess you could say, because really by, I would say, the start of 96 onward, it's really good. Like, I enjoy it.
Right.
So, I don't know. That would be interesting. A 3-man team. Well, would he just be on for the Nitro episodes or for the Raw episodes too?
I'm thinking maybe not just Nitros. I don't know if he would want to do both, like Raw and.
He's trying to horn in on our action here.
What a surprise.
We put the t-shirt shop up. Now he wants to join the fucking podcast.
Right. Try to get that cut.
Yes.
Try to get that cut of the 48 cents that we make off every
Hogan 98 money. Oh,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah. For every download milestone, we got to give him like $100,000.
No, I don't think so. We'll stick him on Nitro. We'll be with him on Nitro. But you know what, buddy? It's been a 2-man team. I'm Heenan. You're fucking
Bartlett.
Yeah. Or if not, Whippleman, maybe. I guess commentary every once in a while.
That sucks. Thanks for the insult.
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Stay tuned.
Yeah. And then one little last piece of listener feedback. This is actually on one wrestler.
Oh.
And it's a knockoff wrestler. Because remember, WCW is bringing back the Great Muta. So since the WWF couldn't get the Great Muta, they made their own Great Muta, which is Quang. And two of our listeners here decided to let us know what they think about Quang. So Mike Campbell, he wrote that one of my friends on the bus who only casually followed wrestling absolutely loved Quang.
Holy shit.
For a good couple of years after this, if anyone talked wrestling, he'd make sure to let everyone know that his favorite wrestler was Quang. And Mike messaged me on Facebook to make sure that I got this on the air because he was talking to his buddy about this podcast and how we're talking about Quang. And his buddy was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? 25 years later, people are talking about Quang? This is awesome." So I had to make sure I got it on there because that's pretty hilarious.
That's awesome. And you know what? So here's the thing. We laugh, we joke. I'll speak for myself. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bob, but I'm personally not a Quang fan. But
he's not that bad.
Well, we'll leave it at that. But anything that makes people relate to this time period and bonus want to hear our podcast is awesome. So that's really funny. That's a cool story. And it's, you know what? It's not too unbelievable because I was thinking about this the other day. Now you got to think early 90s, right? Video games are starting to explode. Early 90s. Arcades are going insane. They're ramping up the violence. And guess what else around this time is really gaining some steam? Fucking Mortal Kombat. Who better to have on your show than a guy like fucking Quang who looks like a Mortal Kombat character and does karate moves?
That's probably, it's probably part of the inspiration.
You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm hating on him for that and think the gimmick's just really stupid. I'm more or less more upset that it's a blatant ripoff. You know, they could have easily made that character something of their own, and it just doesn't feel like they're doing that. They're not putting enough creativity into it. So that's kind of where I'm falling off the boat on that. But I think it's cool that somebody might go out of their way now to listen to IcoPod just for the moments where we speak of the master of Kung Fu known as Quang.
Crazy things out there, I tell you.
Yeah.
One last comment here by Mick Price. I forgot where I heard it first, but what is the sound of 300 pounds of crap hitting the floor? Quang.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oof.
Mick Price might not be a big Quang fan.
Well, and so that's the beauty of all of this, that some people, again, will go out of their way to seek up anything about a guy like Quang. Some people will go out of their fucking way to avoid a guy like Quang. I'm like that with a couple different guys that we watch, and I'm sure, and it's obvious that it has happened, it gets a little bit of heat, you know? So there's varying opinions. I think that's a perfect example of black and white. I love this guy. I hate this guy. And there's a lot of times where me and Bob are kind of at that point. Several times since we started, Tatanka, Crush, the list goes on and on. So that's all about being a fan. So that's really cool that, there's definitely some varying opinions out there, even about some of the content that we talk about. So,
yeah. So thanks for all those guys that shared their feedback. Of course, if you guys if you're listening to this, maybe you're brand new listening to IcoPod, if you have any kind of comments regarding the WWF, whether it be in 93, whether it be in 94, whether it be in 92 or 91 or wherever,
yeah,
ideally in the time frame, though we don't want to talk about Roman Reigns or anything in 2019. Well, we could, but we're not going to. You can send them to our Facebook page, IcoPod, or you can email icopodcast@gmail.com. I will try to get better at getting these on here in a more timely fashion. I try to get a build up of a few, and then we can discuss them. But
yeah,
send them in, and we'll talk about them. But on to our regularly scheduled programming. Into some observer notes. The Undertaker has been doing some PR work in Japan for an upcoming tour that starts in May, and it appears he will be on the tour. Of course, he was kind of murdered at the Royal Rumble, but he will be back this spring. He's likely the biggest draw that the WWF has for Japan to draw some big houses. So it's pretty important that he's on that show.
Okay.
Or those shows, I should say.
Interesting.
Yeah, when I read that, I was like, really? Undertaker's a major draw in Japan? I never would have thought that.
I'm trying to think who else was hot at the time. What company is it? Or it doesn't say?
If I had a guess, it's going to be with War.
Okay.
Because that's kind of where the relationship is with.
Oh, I guess that makes a little bit more sense then. War was always kind of character
driven. Yeah.
Driven. I mean, there's definitely guys who could go, but yeah, that makes a little bit more sense.
Okay. Fatu has been out of action since Mabel landed wrong on him on February 24th. So having a guy that's about 475 pounds landing on you on a nightly basis, I guess you're bound to maybe get hurt.
Yeah,
so
that
was
might happen. Case.
Yeah, that happened on February 24th. The February 28th edition of Raw, which featured the tag match. No, I'm sorry. That was with Razor. Oh my God, Razor Ramon. No, Bob, stop talking. Randy Savage and WWF World Champion Yokozuna. They got a 3.4 rating.
Wow.
Which is one of the higher ratings we had.
That's way up from last week.
Yeah.
So guess who popped the ratings?
Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah.
Get.
So, yeah, there you go.
The March 7th Raw, which featured Tatanka getting the headdress in one of the more emotional segments in wrestling history, got a 2.8 rating.
There you fucking go. That's almost an entire ratings mark fucking down.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to say it again. If you haven't gone back yet, pause this episode of IcoPod right now. Maybe come back to it, maybe don't. Pause it right now. Fucking go home, clock out of work, go on lunch. Go home and watch that segment. Watch that Tatanka segment. Come back here now and tell me that I wasn't right and that it was the best, worst thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
I like it.
It was something that must have been so bad. I had completely forgotten about it. I didn't even know. I never remembered that segment before.
For me, that's unforgettable. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
That's almost as unforgivable as like the dirty pool with the mermaids and the sharks.
That's still number one.
Yeah, that's a really good one. The crush octopuses thing was really good. But damn it, man. This ceremony with Tatanka, yeah, that's very memorable for me.
And to finish off observer notes here, Dave considers the WrestleMania 10 card to blow, but he expects some surprises to keep things interesting.
I don't think that's fair of him, though, because I
don't think it blows either.
No,
really.
I don't think the card blows. I think it's on paper fucking stacked. Especially all the feuds and all the work they've put into kind of promoting a lot of most of the matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's fair.
Well, speaking of Dave, he recently went to the Oakland, California house show that the WWF held on March 4th. Now, I like to read these ones out just to give you an idea of maybe what these were looking at the house show arena reports, because Dave goes to the shows, he does the whole time, star ratings, so I'll get into those in a minute. There's also another one that took place on March 12th that he did not go to, but there's another card to give you an idea of what they're running. So the Oakland, California show drew 3,700 fans. There were 6 matches on the card. And I'll just read out the results and everything here. The Bushwhackers defeated the Heavenly Bodies in 11 minutes and 44 seconds when Butch pinned Del Rey after the battering ram. And Dave gave it 3/4 of a star.
Being generous there.
Yeah. Again, Bushwhackers...
No.
Working nearly 12 minutes. I feel bad for the Heavenly Body. If I'm the Heavenly Bodies, I'm like, send me back to Smoky Mountain. I don't want to do this.
No.
The second match saw Doink and Dink defeat Bam Bam Bigelow and Luna Vachon in 13 minutes and 23 seconds. Dave says that this was I don't know. Dave says that this was a good comedy match for about 2 minutes, but then it lost its appeal.
Yeah.
Dink was knocked off the apron and carried out, then ran back and distracted Bigelow, and Doink schoolboyed him for the win.
Oh, God.
And then Dave gave that a dud.
Yeah.
The WWF Tag Team Champions Quebecers retained the tag titles by defeating 1-2-3 Kid and Jim Powers, who was substituting for Marty Jannetty, who has been fired for the 4th time, trailing only Iron Sheik in WWF record books. Kid is wearing a new red outfit that doesn't look nearly as good as the blue one, Dave notes.
Oh.
Pierre pinned Powers with a leg drop off the top in 11 minutes and 51 seconds. This got 2.25 stars.
That's probably about right. It's still, man, 11 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, I feel like Kid did a lot of the work in that one.
Yes, absolutely he did.
Here comes one that we've heard about before, and we were just like, well, that's a weird match. Well, Dave thought so as well. Yokozuna, the WWF World Champion, teamed up with Bastion Booger to defeat Men on a Mission in what Dave said was a weird match. So here's what happens, I guess. Yokozuna worked the entire match as Booger kept refusing to tag. Yokozuna sold the whole time until out of nowhere hitting Mo with a belly-to-belly suplex for the win in 7 minutes and 59 seconds. After the match, Booger tried to congratulate Yokozuna, but Yokozuna headbutted him and played to the crowd as a face, but only got a very small face reaction. Dave says, I can't describe how awful it was when Yokozuna was in with Mabel. Well, actually, I can. Remember the Sid Vicious El Gigante stretcher match? This got -1 star.
Anything being compared to Giant Gonzalez / El Gigante is probably fucking horrible. I cannot believe that why not just have the handicap match? Why is Booger even anything? Horrible pairing, horrible booking, and they're facing off against Men on a fucking Mission.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah, very confusing. Not a fan. Wouldn't want to watch that. And now, dude, if we get past WrestleMania and Yokozuna is a fucking face, I'm going to hate that more than the Lex Luger thing. Hands down.
Wait a minute. Let's rewind. Number one, I agree with you. Like, I'm thinking this might be an idea of was Yokozuna, maybe could he be a babyface? I think this is like a tease for that.
No.
They're trying to see maybe if they can get a reaction. Number two, what are you talking about that you hated the Lex Luger thing? You jumped on that fucking Lex Express bus quicker than I've ever seen anybody jump onto a bus in my life.
Yeah, but most people didn't.
Yeah, but you just said that you're going to hate this more than you hated the Lex Luger thing, which is factually incorrect. You loved it.
Yeah, no, I did. Well, I meant to say I'm going to hate this more than you hated the Lex Luger thing.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Because I was going to get real mad because
I loved it.
Yeah, you still love it.
I still love it, and I still kind of like Lex Luger, so fuck you.
Which is, so you know what's funny is I was listening to I think I was actually listening to the March to WrestleMania 9 episode because I just love that episode. It's like episode 11.
Yeah.
And it's because just everything on that show. And I was big on Narcissist Lex Luger. You hated it, Narcissist Lex Luger.
Yeah.
You love Lex Express. I hate Lex Express. It's like two totally different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was hilarious.
I've got more time to shine with Luger than you have.
Yeah, we're not even close to being done with it. I had 6 months of Narcissist. You have about 2 years of fucking Lex Express.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
Fucking bullshit.
But no, that's what I meant to say. So if they end up doing that, I'm gonna hate the Yokozuna face turn more than Bob hates the Lex Luger face turn, because I think it makes even less sense. Honestly,
I don't know how you can switch to Yoko being a babyface so quickly. I don't understand.
You fucking can't. Just physically, kind of the same as Lex Luger. Look at that guy. You don't want to be friends with that guy. He's a dick. Or in this case, he's a fucking giant monster sumo guy who's like mean and hates Americans. There's literally no way. No way.
Yeah, that was just I don't. Too soon. You got to wait a little while before you
take him off TV.
Yeah, for sure. You would have to. The fifth match was Samu teaming with Tonga Kid, because of course Fatu has been hurt because of Mabel. Right. They defeated the Smoking Guns when Samu pinned Bart as he came off the top rope, but was met with a thrust kick in 13 minutes and 2 seconds. Both teams worked very hard. Samoans always work harder in front of their friends. This got 3.25 stars.
I was going to say, yeah, that was probably a decent match. Still, 13 minutes is fucking lengthy again. But yeah, I'm sure that was probably a decent match. So I believe him in that case.
All these matches are getting plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Main event saw Bret Hart teaming up with Lex Luger. They defeated IRS and Owen Hart in 14 minutes and 46 seconds when Luger schoolboyed IRS. Bret received more than double the amount of cheers as Luger did. Fans were chanting boring when Luger was in with IRS.
Oof.
But Owen versus Bret had great heat, even though they only wrestled scientifically and neither is very animated facially.
Yeah.
What they did was good, of course, and this got 2 stars.
I'm surprised it didn't get a little bit higher, to be honest. Especially because everybody really in that match is relatively solid, even though I know Bob is not an IRS fan. And
so boring.
Yep. And
so boring.
Same could be said about Lex Luger. So we're not wrong. I mean, we've noticed it. We've made note of it. We've talked about it. It's kind of blatantly obvious that them continually trying to compare Bret and Lex is doing Lex 0 favors. No favors.
That's like from the start, too.
Yeah. If anything, it's hurting him more and more every time they do it. So I'm confused about that as well. They have to know. They got to know. Lex has got to know. Bret's got to know. So I don't know. I think that's I get the storyline part of it, but I think it's just a bad fundamental pairing because you're kind of showing that the bloom is off the rose with Lex Luger every time you do that. So
needless to say, I'm not going to this show.
Absolutely not.
No reason. I'm surprised that 3,700 fans went to this.
And that's relatively low compared to some of the other house show numbers we've been getting. We've been getting some sellouts.
That is true. Or at least like 9,000 fans or something.
Yeah.
The other show that I have noted here took place on March 12th, 1994, London, England, Royal Albert Hall, which immediately gives me PTSD because of the brutal live watch that you asshole fans made us watch. Just for, you know what, you guys need to buy a shirt or a mug or something just for that.
Yeah, you got to make up for it. Yeah.
Spend the $15 or whatever it is. Just get yourself a mug.
Yeah, and then we get 2 cents.
Yeah, we get 2 cents off of that. And then every morning when you make a cup of coffee, you can look at that IcoPod mug and be like, I can't believe I made Austin and Bob watch an awful fucking show from 1991. And then just smile while drinking your coffee and being like, at least I didn't have to watch it. You know, because you're all assholes.
Damn it.
All right. Anyway, the card featured the following: Sparky Plug taking on Brooklyn Brawler, Diesel squaring off in singles action against Yo Bro Virgil, Earthquake competing against Adam Bomb, Tatanka in action against Quang, Jeff Jarrett squaring off against Rick Martel, Randy Savage in singles action against Crush, WWF Women's Champion Alundra Blaze defending the title against Lalani Kai, and the main event saw WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon defending against Shawn Michaels.
Nope.
You're skipping this one too?
Oh God, yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. What's the attendance here?
There's not anything reported.
Holy shit, man. That undercard really just chaps my ass. Yeah, there's probably no way I'm attending either show this week.
Yeah, I don't think I would go to it either, only because I would never want to step foot into Royal Albert Hall because of what I've had to deal with in the past.
God damn it.
So I am not going to go to that one. Some syndication notes here. On the March 12th edition of Superstars, IRS cut a promo on Tatanka saying Tatanka owes a gift tax for his headdress and that IRS is going to collect all of it, similar to what we've already heard, I believe. He's already said. Also, there was a special interview on the same edition of Superstars where Vince McMahon talked to Lex Luger and Bret Hart. McMahon brings up the possible match between Luger and Bret Hart for the WWF World Championship if Luger were to beat Yokozuna. Luger says that he has waited too long to focus on any man other than Yokozuna. That doesn't answer the question of how he would prepare for Bret, though. Hart puts Luger's ability over big time and mentions that Luger is the only man to slam Yokozuna. Bret says that he was robbed of the championship last year, and he goes into saying that his usual catchphrase of being the best. There is the best, there was the best, there will be, of course. Luger puts over Bret's ability to compete in the ring. They could possibly find out who is the best at WrestleMania 10. They go to play to the crowd in the same corner, and then they exchange words before going to different corners to play to the crowd. Oh, some just last minute hype there. Kind of gives you the idea that maybe Bret and Luger will be fighting at WrestleMania 10. That's the only way I could interpret that segment.
Yeah, and like we've said before, I think that'd be the ideal situation. That's what it feels like they've been building to since the Superstar of the Year.
Right.
So, main event, WrestleMania 10, Bret Luger, face versus face, for all the marbles. I'd be down for it. Who knows? I'm sure Bret can get a very decent match out of Lex. Probably maybe even better than a Bret Yoko match for the second time around in 2 years. Or in a year, I'm sorry. But I don't know. I think, put it this way, I think if Lex doesn't beat Yoko at WrestleMania, he should probably ask for his release. Because, now what? What do you do?
Yeah, that's your peak. That's your peak of your run.
It's like how you can't lose that many times and still be like Mr. America with the fucking national anthem song.
Right. I think Lex Luger has lost more in 7 months than Hulk Hogan lost in 10 years.
Yeah. Yep. Probably.
I mean,
probably.
It's incredible. But I think it's going to, just judging by what they did here, that Luger Bret would be the go-to move. I mean, Yokozuna's kind of been a back burner character of this whole feud anyway. Yes. It's been about which one will beat him, Bret or Lex. All the focus is on the two baby faces. So you would want to close out the show, I would think.
Yoko's definitely been like the third wheel this whole time.
Yeah, and haven't they also been promoting it as being like, oh, the only show where the championship could change twice?
Yes.
They're basically telling us.
Yes.
Although it happened in WrestleMania 9, we're already forgetting that. But like, oh, hey, this could happen, and you got to tune in to watch. I don't know. What do I know? Maybe as wrestling fans, we shouldn't be paying attention to that type of stuff.
I don't know.
We go to the beginning here of the March to WrestleMania 10 event. It was taped, of course. It took place on March 13th, 1994. Vince McMahon and Johnny Polo are on commentary. They promote the matches that we'll see tonight, which include Bret taking on Crush, an Owen Hart interview. Randy Savage has been barred from the arena, but he is still going to be interviewed for the program, which was taped earlier in the evening.
Yeah.
We also go to Gorilla Monsoon and Stan Lane, because there's going to be two different arenas kind of thing going on here. And they promote a match between WWF World Champion Yokozuna and Tatanka. Also, Lex Luger squares off against Jimmy Del Rey.
Two important things to notice here. I thought it was interesting that we had first of all, the pairing of Gorilla and Stan Lane to me was kind of like, I wasn't really into it. And both commentary teams are definitely green screened in.
100%.
So that's, I wanted to make note of that as well.
Yeah, they definitely are. Jim Cornette is in the ring and says that Del Rey is the designated hitter for the Heavenly Bodies. So that means we're going to get Del Rey against Luger to kick off the program.
A couple more observations I had here right off the bat with this. First of all, there's no entrance set. So it almost looks like an ECW setup. Like they come out of a black curtain with some light riggings. Really kind of like standard, less than Raw, which for a USA special extravaganza, I was kind of bummed out to see. Even if they would have just kept the Raw entrance with the lights and everything, cool. But no, there was nothing. So that was kind of a bummer. Also a bummer, definitely getting some heavily piped in boos here for Pritchard, because I think not Pritchard, I'm sorry, Del Rey. because I think, to be honest, he was probably not getting a reaction at all. I mean,
I didn't know who he was.
Right, and that's what it came across as visually, because here you are getting these heavy boos, and you're thinking the crowd's probably very visually booing, and they're all just kind of sitting there. So I think that's going to maybe plague the rest of the show. We're going to get some piped in shit, I think.
Well, we've noticed that, I think, for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
Especially as it pertained to Luger.
Right.
Some kind of not authentic reaction, but
yeah,
that's been going on forever. As I said here, match number 1, Lex Luger taking on Jimmy Del Rey, one half of the Heavenly Bodies. Pritchard is at ringside with Del Rey for the match. Del Rey and Luger show off their bodies, with Luger getting the better reaction, as expected. I mean, Luger does have the better body, so it makes sense for people to cheer for it. Luger drops Del Rey with a shoulder block a few times to start the contest.
Did his booby dance. He did his booby dance after that.
Little pop thing.
Yeah.
I can do it, just not as good. I have the
I can do it with my hand.
You can just move it up and down.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just get the visual out of my face. Okay, anyway, fans are heavily behind Luger with USA chants. I'm pretty sure Del Rey is American, so he might be confused. Like, oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Luger counters a hip toss with a clothesline. Polo is using ridiculous sound effects.
Oh my God.
There's like a buzzer and a chainsaw.
Like, what the fuck? So this is going to be the gimmick tonight. Polo has access to like a noise machine. So I'm thinking, oh, fuck, here we go.
As soon as I heard that, I rolled my eyes and I was like, this guy is he's going to kill this. He's going to overkill it like quick.
Yep.
He like already did. Mm-hmm. Lex nearly dropped Del Rey on a press slam, but using only his fingertips, it seemed like he was able to save the move, which scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the amount of like no effort needed to save the move was alarming. Like no man should be that strong to do that.
Right.
But he did. Del Rey avoids a running Luger, and then Lex falls over the top of the floor. Pritchard slams Luger on the floor and stomps on him a few times. Del Rey focuses his attack on Luger's lower back. Luger gets nailed by Pritchard with some cheap shots on the floor. Luger is still selling the lower back. His selling of the lower back is pretty bad. Del Rey slams Luger with a gut wrench for a 2 count. Pritchard eye rakes Luger while the referee is distracted. Del Rey heads to the top rope and misses a moonsault. Luger fights back with some strikes and a back elbow. Del Rey's back dropped, and Pritchard is decked off the apron. Luger clotheslines Del Rey, followed by a power slam, and then he locks in the torture rack for the submission victory. After the match, Jim Cornette tries to hit Luger with the tennis racket. Luger turns around and has the racket with Cornette begging off in the corner. Luger proceeds to whack Cornette on the ass with the racket. WWF World Champion Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji come down to ringside, seemingly to confront Luger. Luger's ready for the confrontation. Fuji's just waving the Japanese flag. Yoko turns around and walks away. So Luger gets the American flag and plays to the crowd. Austin, what'd you think of this opening contest?
I thought it was pretty standard. I think for a Lex Luger match, it wasn't horrible. Although we've seen better Lex Luger matches. I think for a Jimmy Del Rey match, a singles match that, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I liked it more than I thought I would. And let me tell you, when Lex gets Del Rey up in the torture rack and the ref calls for the fucking bell, I was like, fuck yeah to that, for 2 reasons. Number 1, Lex finally has his move back, hopefully. And number 2, that means Borga is definitely gone, because let's not forget that was Borga's finish. So really important kind of nod there for Lex Luger. So that was cool. I really enjoyed that. I just have to make note again of just the arena itself looks literally like a high school gym. So the walls, after all the stuff happened post-match, you could see that they're like the padded gym walls for like a high school gym. Mm-hmm. The lighting, although they did have some special like star lights and different cool little things, was definitely subpar as well. So you can tell that this was probably a low-rent building to make up for maybe some of the production that they shelled out a little bit differently for this episode with the more piped-in audio. specialty lights that they have for this episode. So I don't know. It was just interesting because it feels different. The match itself, standard, like I said. I think Yoko coming out and again just ramping up the stuff with him and Luger. At this point, it's one of the deepest feuds we have on WWF television, Yoko and Lex. So I think anything that fuels that fire is good. As the heels head back, Lex continued his celebration in the ring. They kind of killed the lights. They're shining lights on Lex. Vince referred to the USS Intrepid and that Lex was going to finish what he started in New York for WrestleMania. So I thought that was all kind of a really nice tie-in. And believe it or not, I think I'm looking forward to the Lex and Yoko match just to see what the fuck's going to happen. Like, what are they going to do? Because I don't know. I have no idea at this point what's going to happen. And mind you, this is coming from somebody who's watched WrestleMania maybe in its entirety 2-3 times, but I've gone back and watched matches several times off the card. I've only seen this match maybe twice, and I don't remember what happened. So I'll be going in there relatively fresh. And like I said, I think this match helped. The post-match segment helped just ramp everything up.
I was quite surprised for the torture rack to make
huge surprise.
It's so needed because he was doing like a superplex that just was stupid.
Right.
Like the running forearm I got because of the forearm.
Yeah.
Metal plate or whatever. But that only works when you're a heel. It makes no sense if you're a babyface and you're using it.
Yeah.
The Luger Yokozuna feud for me, for the most part, I've not been overly interested in it. Of the 2 title matches, it's the one I'm least looking forward to.
Yeah.
And this match is just, again, like what you said, it was just your average stuff. The aftermath didn't do anything for me because I feel like we saw that going into SummerSlam, like the same kind of context or same kind of plan. So
I think that's what intrigues me. Like, okay, here we are, almost same spot 6 months later. What the fuck are they going to do at WrestleMania? Yeah. What do you do? I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea. I don't know. It's going to go either way. It can go either way. So I think that's the only reason that it kind of helped hype me up a little bit for their match, because I don't know. We're gonna see some shit go down. I know that.
Yeah, we'll see when we get to WrestleMania 10 next week on IcoPod. Now, after a commercial break, we go right into our second match. It's Bam Bam Bigelow taking on Ben Jordan. Now, as usual lately with these enhancement matches, I'm not taking a lot of notes because you kind of get the idea of what's going on here. Bigelow has virtually no problem handling Mr. Ben Jordan. Jordan had a brief sprint of offense until getting dropped over the top rope throat first to end the match.
I didn't have much more than you did, Bob. I did note that the crowd was dead here as Bam Bam was working like a neck crank on this guy. We got a big suplex. Bam Bam just sauntering around the ring like he does in these enhancement matches. And my problem with Bam Bam at this point is not necessarily maybe the way he's been booked, but how he receives the booking and the fact that there's no fire in Bam Bam Bigelow. There hasn't been in a long, long time. And it's blatantly obvious that he's almost maybe mailing it in at this point. Do I blame him? No, probably not. But at the same time, you still got a job to do. And I feel like I'm finding myself more annoyed with Bam Bam for how he's responding to the situation than him being in the situation. And I think that was the case here. There's just nothing going on. And again, we've seen good enhancement matches. We know guys are capable. We know that Bam Bam's capable of showing some aggression and just destroying this guy. Like, fuck you. You're just as nothing to me as Doink is. I'm going to destroy you. And then as soon as I'm done destroying you, I'm going to destroy Doink at WrestleMania because I'm sick of looking like a fool. That's not what we got. We got the same old, stalling around the ring and a couple headbutts, a scoop slam. And there you go. I mean, I think he hit like a stun gun on the guy over the top ropes to pin him or something like. It was just lame. That was my reaction coming out of this one. Lame.
Well, about the stun gun, I'm wondering, because I don't think we've seen him really do that before for a finish. I wonder if they're doing that to kind of discredit maybe Steve Austin's stun gun, which is what he's using in WCW.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe a way to say, oh, hey, you're doing this, we'll do it with our guy too. They're doing it with Muda. They're doing it, Muda Quang, and who knows. But yeah, just a boring match for the most part.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah, I agree. Another stupid thing to note here: Bam Bam has his full beard back, thankfully.
Yeah,
that was nice to see. He's been able to grow that back in. Interesting to note, maybe he's a bald guy with some facial hair, so they'll say, "Hey, go do the stun gun like this other bald guy with facial hair on the other show." Oh, he's not quite bald, but whatever.
We got a video promoting WWF Women's Champion Alundra Blaze, promoting her. She'll be defending against Lalani Kai at WrestleMania 10. The video is maybe 15 seconds and doesn't really consist much of anything.
Yeah, we've seen this one before. It's just clips of her like sporting, doing sports,
like surfing or something, like just
surfing, driving a motorcycle, pretty much saying, "Hey, these are the girls, but look, she's as tough as a guy." That's basically what it felt like.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I really like them.
Yeah.
A video promoting WrestleMania 10, highlighting the co-winners at the 1994 Royal Rumble and their two title matches on one night is shown.
Yeah.
Of course, that's in reference to Bret and Lex both getting title matches. McMahon brags about the WWF being on more than half of the events listed on the top 50 events in pay-per-view history.
Yeah.
So I guess enjoy that. I don't know. It's just a weird flex, I guess.
It definitely was. And you can tell the only reason he's doing it is to still try and entice people to buy the pay-per-view. Like, oh, if you don't, maybe you don't even like wrestling, but you might miss pay-per-view history. So you better buy it.
Well, how many pay-per-views had they even had at this point? Because they started in 85, right?
Was WrestleMania pay-per-view? Or was it closed circuit?
Oh, I think it was closed circuit. So what? The first pay-per-view would have been 2? Or was that closed circuit? I mean, that was closed. That was in 3 different places.
Yeah, I don't.
So let's say WrestleMania 3. That had to be.
That was the first one pay-per-view, I think.
All right, so we're in 94. So you average 4 pay-per-views a year, roughly.
Yeah.
So from 87 to 94, that's 7 years.
Right?
So that's what? 28 pay-per-views?
Yeah. 28. Well, yeah, 28. And again, that's assuming if the first pay-per-view was WrestleMania 3, which I think it was.
Well, roughly. It's less than 30.
Yes, less than 30.
So he's pretty much saying that every pay-per-view they've had was in the top 50 events.
Oh, yeah. What's the other events?
There's no way. Yeah, well, what are you comparing it to? Like probably boxing events, I would have to think.
Maybe. Yeah.
But like I don't understand like what the competition for that would have been.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, it's just a weird flex for him it's something to brag about and put the company over.
Tatanka is backstage and he's interviewed by McMahon. Tatanka knows that he's stepping into the ring to do battle tonight. He has a score to settle and he hasn't forgotten that Yoko tried to end his career. Tatanka says that Yoko may have 2 managers, but he has all of his tribe. He's coming for his revenge tonight.
Really subpar here from Tatanka. And I have to note that this felt like a 3-minute promo without periods or stopping points. So it sounded like Tatanka didn't breathe and just talked continually without stopping the whole promo, which, kudos to him. Also, something that looked really Bush League was the little black curtain they put behind him. So it was like a tan brick wall he's standing in front of. And then they did like a little black curtain backdrop behind him. And I assume that was supposed to be the background for the shot. But the camera kind of zooms out a little bit. So you see all it is like a little bullshit black curtain that they have hanging up. It's really small. So that's not like the background. Why they didn't just fucking move the black curtain and just have him cut the promo in front of the brick wall? Like, I don't know. The tiled wall, like that would have been fine.
Yeah.
So that annoyed me. And again, it just looked like, so to wrap the whole thing up, we were in the high school gym. We got this Bush League fucking curtain in the back. Like, this is the show, really that's supposed to make you want to buy WrestleMania. And it's just really like low budget. And it was obvious that it was low budget. So I don't know. I didn't like that. That kind of threw me off. And like I said, the promo was it's the same shit that Tatanka says every time. And the fact that this felt like a 3-minute promo when really it was maybe 30 seconds to a minute wasn't good. So I was not a fan of it.
Yeah, I think my love for Tatanka is slowly declining. The more and more he becomes emotional about stupid shit.
Could you say that your love for Tatanka has joined Tatanka on the Trail of Tears?
No, not joined. He's inquiring about where it's going.
Okay. All right.
But he hasn't quite joined. It's funny, though, you mentioned about the curtain, because recently I was watching a ECW like TV show or whatever, and Taz was doing an intense promo that's darkened or whatever, and I'm thinking they're like in an alleyway or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the camera like zooms out. He's in a fucking closet at the venue. I just thought it was hilarious. Like, there's just two guys in a fucking broom closet doing an intense promo.
Yeah.
I thought they were outside the building, but they were in a broom closet.
Well, shit like that just ruins like the integration. Like, it just the whole illusion is ruined.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty funny.
I just chuckled that like Taz is just pissed off in a broom closet in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Yeah. That's really good.
Match number 3 here is WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon taking on Tony DeVito. Yet another enhancement match here for the bad guys. We head into WrestleMania 10. Middle rope back suplex in the Razor's Edge finishes off Mr. DeVito. What did you think of Ramon's enhancement match here?
First of all, DeVito looked like a midget compared to Razor Ramon. He literally looked like a little person.
I think he's a midget like next to anybody.
Which really kind of threw me off. It just looks silly. The lockups look silly. Scott Hall is playing with the guy. You can tell. He's playing with the guy. Scott had to visually call spots. It looked like at a few points.
I think he called out like a counter at one point.
Yeah, like there was a lot of visual calls. Very basic, easy stuff. You know, he splattered the guy with the fucking with the Razor's Edge for the easy 3 count. So it was what it was. Razor looks to be in tip-top shape for WrestleMania, and I think his match with Shawn, I'm looking forward to, I would say second most. I'm just really looking forward to the Owen Bret match, of course. Then I would say Razor Shawn, and then I would probably say Luger Yoko, to be honest. But yeah, I think.
What about Savage Crush?
But it's so cooled off. They just cooled it off so much.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know. Luger Yoko is probably like below Quake and Bomb for me.
Oof. No, it's not there for me for sure.
I don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't know. So again, just to not derail here. Yes, I think Razor's looking primed and ready for WrestleMania. Not a super impressive like enhancement match by any means, but definitely better than the Bam Bam one we just saw. At least shit happened. So there you go.
Well, moving on here, Johnny Polo is in the ring, and he is there to interview Owen Hart. And now, considering Austin's a big Owen Hart fan, I figured I'll pass this one on to you, because I'm sure you'll be grinning ear to ear for your love of Owen Hart. So go right ahead.
I will take it. So, of course, Polo calls Owen down to the ring. Owen makes his way through like these purple lights, and I think there was even some heart-shaped lights that they did for him to kind of ramp it up a little bit. Bret Hart chant breaks out immediately. You know, we want Bret, which says that, hey, people are invested in this shit. Polo gets right into it here and asks about the match with Bret and what it means to Owen Hart. And he says that he's waited all his life for this opportunity and says he doesn't blame Bret for trying to hold him down all these years, especially because his little brother has always been better than him, that Owen Hart is truly better than Bret Hart. That's why Bret doesn't want this match and didn't want this match all along, is how Owen explains it. He believes that Bret is scared and that come WrestleMania, he was going to beat his older brother and prove who the better brother was. Owen also confirmed what Polo said about Crush in the match later tonight, as far as Crush taking on Bret here at the March to WrestleMania. And Owen basically begged Crush not to hurt Bret because he doesn't want the excuses. He knows Bret's going to try and give excuses. That's what he's done his whole life. Owen knows this. And he asked Crush to save some Bret for him. And he also asked Bret to save his best hold for WrestleMania because he'll need it. He'll need it to take on Owen. And I thought that was an interesting way to kind of wrap things up here. So not only is he asking Crush, hey, don't kill Bret, please. And he's also asking Bret, hey, don't dish out all you got because I want all you got at WrestleMania. Not only physically, but move-wise. I want the best you can do because I'm going to beat you at your best. So, you know, I think the story-wise, the way they're putting this together is better than probably 90% of the storylines they've done up to this point, especially since we've started. Just really believable, relatable for a lot of people. Like, it makes sense. It's a story that makes sense. And I really appreciate that. So I think this was a decent build. We've heard better from Owen. This was kind of a repeat of a lot of the stuff he's kind of said leading up to the weeks of the show. Still not horrible, and I'm still 100% invested in this feud. Yeah,
I think it's one of probably the best angles that we've seen in terms of depth.
Hands down.
Promos are pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't really argue with that or dispute any of that. So yeah, it's solid promo too by Owen. It's kind of the repetitive things, but.
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
there's no need. There's nothing you really need to add to it.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly.
A little Richard WrestleMania 10 ad promoting his appearance at WrestleMania 10 is shown. I mean, Little Richard's a weird looking guy, weird voice.
It's Johnny B. Bad, baby.
You know, that's what it's inspired by. Is Little Richard. So. There you go. We go right into our fourth match. It's Earthquake against the Executioner, which is not Terry Gordy, just for the record. Early on, Executioner gets stopped by a clothesline after not being able to knock Quake down. Naturally, Quake takes the advantage for the entire match and wins following the sit-down splash. The only thing I have noted here is that Quake got a far better reaction here than he did for his debut. So clearly the crowd knew who he was and kind of made him look like a big deal.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I noticed the same thing. There was even a couple pops on some of the moves he was hitting.
Yeah.
So Quake looked better in this match than his debut as well. He's launching the guy off the top rope, face first across the entire ring. He's hitting a killer Samoan drop, belly to belly. He's ragdolling the guy. Plants a big leg drop on him. He looked impressive, and I feel like oppositely now he looked like here's an enhancement match for Quake. Here's an enhancement match for Bam Bam Bigelow. The fire that Earthquake has shown far surpasses the fire that Bam Bam's shown, but comparison being Quake just returned. Bam Bam's had to deal with shit for the last couple of months. At the same time, it should have been flip-flopped. Really, Quake has no reason to have the fire that he does because he's not in a major angle yet. He should be just ramping up. For a guy like Bam Bam, he needs to have this fire to carry this shit because otherwise it's fallen flat as it has for 2 months, if not 3-4 months at this point. So I don't know. I just wish Quake would give some of his aggression and fire to Bam Bam to help get Bam Bam out of this slump. Because I feel like his attitude isn't helping the situation. If you can tell the guy's not having a good time and doesn't really care about what he's doing, then I don't care. You know. Again, do I blame him? No, I'm giving him a hard time, but I know there's so much better that Bam Bam could be providing, and he's not. So it's a little bit disappointing. Quake, again, looked great. I think Quake looked great here. I'm looking forward to his match with Adam Bomb. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Probably Quake going over. Hopefully it's not a squash match because I don't think Bomb deserves that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for Bam Bam to be motivated when he's feuding with a comedy clown.
I get it.
So,
but I've always been under the impression that you make the best with what you got. That's where I'm at with it.
I should have said that to all my ex-girlfriends.
Ouch.
You could be miserable with me, but maybe you should just make the best out of it.
Yeah, suck it up. Suck it up.
I should text them right now, all of them, and tell them that.
Mm.
No? Should I? No.
Nah.
Okay.
I think you should just keep playing with your dink and move on.
Yep. Play with my dink and then make a big doink out of it. All right. So WrestleMania 10 report with Todd Pengill is up next.
Speaking of a doink.
Yeah. Todd.
Yeah, brush your teeth first.
Oh, my God. We haven't seen that ad in a while.
Thank fucking God.
Yeah. Todd, of course, goes over what we'll see at WrestleMania 10. And then Todd seemingly loves the celebrities on the show more than he likes the WrestleMania show. He just wants to see all the celebrities. He reminds us who will be there for celebrities. Burt Reynolds, Jenny Garth.
Fucking forgot.
Yeah. Burt Reynolds, Jenny Garth, Little Richard, Rhonda Shear, Donnie Wahlberg, and Cy Sperling. And the matches that he promotes are the following. WWF World Champion Yokozuna defending against Lex Luger. Bret Hart against Owen Hart. Then, of course, either Lex Luger or Yokozuna will defend the WWF World Championship in a second match against Bret Hart. We hear from WWF World Champion Yokozuna and Jim Cornette with a pre-tape promo here. Cornette says that using the bodies to weaken Bret and Luger was frowned upon, but Yoko has to fight Savage and Tatanka in the last couple of weeks, so he thinks it's like justifiable. Cornette thinks that Mania could be the end of Luger, and then Cornette also thinks that Bret will be easy pickings after his match with Owen. Cornette says that Tatanka is going to be a sitting duck tonight. So he's just taking out all the challengers, and Yokozuna is going to be the WWF World Champion essentially after WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to argue because Cornette points out that Yoko's kind of toppled all the opponents that have opposed him. Not in the most dominating fashion, but nonetheless, he's still the champion. So, I think some of his points are backed up here. We've definitely seen stronger promos from this camp, this Yokozuna camp. But nonetheless, at least it helped break up the WrestleMania report. We've been getting the same thing for fucking weeks now. So I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was great. Not really memorable. If you had missed it, you didn't miss much.
Yeah. Also promoted here, Randy Savage taking on Crush in a Falls Count Anywhere match where after each pinfall, you have 60 seconds to return to the ring, which I don't even know if that had been mentioned previously. I don't remember it having been mentioned. So it makes me wonder, why would you even be in the ring at all? Because if you pin a guy in the ring and there's 60 seconds to get back in the ring, he's already in the ring. So then there should be no reason they're in the ring.
As soon as I got clarification of what these rules were going to be, I was super bummed because to me, that's not a false count anywhere match.
No,
it's like a count out.
It's like a false count anywhere / last man standing, but with just a weird way of doing it.
First of all, 60 seconds is way too long.
That's insane. A whole minute. That's ridiculous.
Way too long. You better shoot the guy for him to stay down for 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's just nuts.
And then it kind of takes away from, I think, the brawl aspect of it, because really, false count anywhere, you're thinking, okay, Crush and Savage, this was really hot. Like, this is a big feud. They better be up in the fucking bleachers, and somebody better get pinned outside the arena, in the street somewhere. Like, that's what I want. Pin, and then Savage gets his arm raised outside Madison Square Garden in Times Square or some crazy bullshit like that. I don't want to see Savage or Crush pin each other and then run all the way back to the fucking ring so the fucking count can start or whatever, however they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It really took the wind out of my sails a little bit with that one. So hopefully it's not as bad as I'm picturing it's going to be, but I don't know. With those, It's too convoluted. We just have the pin be the finish outside. Why are they going to pin him if really the pin doesn't necessarily matter?
Michael Scott from The Office always had one thing that he would tell Dwight Schrute. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon will defend against Shawn Michaels in a ladder match. WWF Tag Team Champions Quebecers defending against Men on a Mission, plus many more that we will hear about later on in the program. So that is your rundown for WrestleMania 10. Thankfully, that's the last time I have to do a rundown of the card.
Yes.
So that would be nice. Johnny Polo is with Bret Hart for a pre-tape promo. Polo puts over Bret as the greatest wrestler in the world today. Polo tells Bret what Owen had said earlier. Bret wears the jacket because he's the ring general. And he says that Owen is just another opponent. That's officially what he is to him. Bret says everybody talks about beating him, but that's hardly ever done. He has 3 matches to worry about, and he's going to get the job done.
Bret Hart was kind of the most fired up we've seen him in late as of late in these promos. This was no different. Bret looked like he meant what he said. He sounded like he meant what he said. And he's kind of really looking into stuff, because he says here, just like Bob pointed out, Crush is just like everybody else. A lot of talk. Everybody talks about beating the Hitman, but seldom do people do it, actually. He talks about Owen. If Owen wants to fight fire with fire, then that's fine with him. So he's kind of all gloves off here as far as Bret Hart goes. So I've just really appreciated the fact of where he was and how weak on the mic he was. Even at the start of this, to where he is now is night and day. Bret Hart promos are starting to rope me in a little bit. I was really digging what he was talking about here. And really, there's nothing flashy. He's standing in front of a green screen. They're showing like Coliseum video highlights of Bret Hart. And it's him and Polo, and that's it. So it was. I enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the best we've seen from Bret. And really, it wasn't all that out of left field compared to the some ones he's cut recently. It's just his demeanor, his passion. It was visible. So yeah, kudos to Bret. I think he's doing just as good of a job as selling this whole thing as Owen is. And I'm really looking forward to his WrestleMania performance, all 3 matches, if that's what it ends up being. Well Crush tonight.
Yeah, that's what he's referencing. I think we've mentioned this before with Bret. He's I think a lot better when the story is more real life driven instead of like, oh, Kamala, I'm gonna tab you out and make your feet break or whatever, like stupid things like that. When it's more personal and real life kind of feud, his angle or his interviews are far better because he doesn't have to worry about going over the top with anything. So I think that's why his promos are getting better. We go to our 5th match. It is Crush taking on Bret Hart. Crush thinks that Bret is a chicken for not doing a test of strength early on. I'm not really liking Polo still using sound effects on commentary. He's been doing this throughout the whole match, or the whole show, really. They have been... Oh, something just happened to my phone. That's not good. They've been stalling for the test of strength for several minutes. Crush has the advantage when Bret finally decides to do the test of strength. But Bret rolls through the move, and he turns the pressure onto Crush for a moment. Crush breaks free and goes to the floor to regroup. Crush misses a running attack in the corner, and Bret hammers away on him before hitting a clothesline for a 1 count. Bret goes on to Crush's back with a sleeper hold, but gets yanked off. Crush misses a fist drop, and then Bret knocks Crush through the ropes to the floor. We go to a commercial break. Crush holds on to the ropes on a roll-up to savant kick Bret to the mat. Crush beats on Bret with some strikes to the lower back. Crush comes off the middle rope to keep Bret on the mat, and then he delivers a backbreaker and then puts a body scissors on Bret. Crush sends Bret Hart back first into the corner. Crush keeps a bear hug on Bret. For a few moments, they trade strikes with Crush getting the advantage and then dumps Bret to the floor. Fuji tries to hit Hart with the flag, but the referee saw that happening. Crush rams Bret face first onto the ring steps for a 2 count in the ring, and then Crush catches Hart on a crossbody to hit another backbreaker for a 2 count and drives Hart down again with a second backbreaker for another near fall. Bret almost wins with a roll-up as Crush was arguing with the referee. Crush sends Bret into the corner, but runs into a big boot. Bret comes off the middle rope to hit a bulldog. Bret has the cover, but Crush is able to kick out. Bret gets a roll-up on Crush for a 2 count. Bret connects with a side Russian leg sweep for a 2 count. Bret comes off the middle rope to deliver a forearm drop. Both men are on the mat for several moments at this time. Crush stops Bret with an atomic drop out of the corner, and then he delivers another backbreaker. Crush climbs to the top and leaps off, missing a knee drop. Bret gets to his feet and attempts to put on the sharpshooter, but Mr. Fuji gets on the apron, and Crush accidentally hits Fuji. Hart punches Crush and has an inside cradle on him, but the referee isn't paying attention to that. That allows Owen Hart to come out, and he pushes Crush on top of Hart, basically changing the momentum there. So Crush has the inside cradle on Bret Hart, and the referee turns around and counts the fall for Crush to win the match. So what do you think of this, Austin? Of Crush, sure, it's not a clean win, but he defeats Bret Hart going into WrestleMania 10.
Before I tell you that, something that pissed me off that I noticed at this match, because the crowd not only was shown a lot, but the cameraman made sure to show a lot. It's blatantly obvious that they have given out WrestleMania 10 merch to this entire crowd, because there's fucking shirts, there's hats, there's flags, there's posters. It's pretty much ridiculous, and you can tell it's got to all be given out because it's all brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking where'd they get WrestleMania 10 merch? They didn't all just buy it tonight at the show. There's no way. So that was really annoying to notice. As far as the match, Bob, you're going to be shocked to hear this, so make sure you're sitting down. I thought it was a fucking awesome match. I was totally invested in it. I think a Bret Crush feud would be good. I would enjoy it. I think Bret gets the best out of Crush. I would almost say that this is main card worthy. This is WrestleMania worthy, this match. It got a lot of time. And I almost wish that they didn't go with the screw over finish with Owen, but it happens so quick. I think all you see of Owen is kind of his arm come into the bottom rope, push Crush over to swing the momentum to get the pin. So I'm glad it was kept at a super minimum and wasn't like this huge, messy, like stupid finish. Big surprise for Crush to get a win here over Bret, but I think they do it in a tasteful way, and it gives Crush some good momentum going into WrestleMania. So I really don't have anything bad to say about this. There wasn't a whole lot of stalling. The match flew by, even though, again, they got a good amount of time, and there wasn't really a lull at any point. There wasn't like, okay, nothing's really going on. They sold their asses off. Crush looked like a power guy. Bret played the man in peril to a T, as he always does. And I thought it was a really good match.
So Austin has finally come around. He's a big Crush fan. First we got him with Tatanka, and now we got him with Crush. I told you, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope.
Going to happen. He just put over a Crush match.
It's the face paint.
It's because of Sean.
Yeah, Sean.
Because of Sean. No, I thought this was pretty solid too.
Yeah.
Crush's offense, sure, it was kind of repetitive, but I mean, it was like high impact stuff, backbreakers, whatever. Like that's probably how. Yeah, that's probably what Roderick Strong probably saw this match and was like, you know what, Crush is a genius. I'm going to do nothing but backbreakers. So yeah, nothing bad here. Let's say if Bret were to win the WWF World Championship, I could see this being like a house show feud.
Yeah,
kind of fill the time, before you get into King of the Ring and SummerSlam or whichever. So, no, yeah, I thought it was fine. A good win for Crush. This stuff doesn't hurt Bret because Bret's an underdog anyway.
No.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So
yeah,
pretty good. Plenty of time too, so can't complain.
Right.
Rhonda Shear cuts a promo about WrestleMania and says that she hopes she can run into Lex Luger at Mania. Stan Lane is like, she hasn't met me yet though, or whatever. So he's like trying to hit on her. kind of whatever, Stan. Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
We go to our 6th match. It is WWF Tag Team Champions Quebecers taking on Mike Bell and PJ Walker. Quebecers went on the attack early on, but they got backdropped, and they both bailed to the floor. Despite the early mishap, so the Quebecers proceeded to dominate the match as expected. Lou Albano wandered down to the aisleway again.
Yes.
He makes it known that he does not like the Quebecers or their tactics. That's literally what he says right to the camera.
Yeah, and he's kind of causing distractions here. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I don't know why he keeps doing this.
It makes no sense.
I don't know. Jacques has a Boston Crab on Walker, and Pierre hits a leg drop off the middle rope for the win. So, again, as I noted here, I don't understand the Albano stuff. This is a decent little enhancement match for the Quebecers. I can't really complain about it.
So Pierre picks up I believe it's Pierre picks up the 3 count.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the one enhancement guy never even tagged in. He just never came in. It was just the one guy the whole time. So that was entertaining. I really wasn't looking forward to this match. I don't like the Quebecers. I don't know why. I don't like anything about them. They don't entertain me.
I don't think you like authority, so you don't like Mounties.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
Like, you don't like Big Boss Man. He's a cop.
Right.
Makes all the sense in the world to me.
That's got to be what it is.
You liked Repo Man because he would burglarize people, so
Yeah. Yeah.
makes a lot of sense to me.
So, I don't know. I just, bleh. That's what I had for this one. Where do they fall for you, Bob, right now? The Quebecers. After this match, you're seeing this. Are you excited for the WrestleMania match?
All right, so I'm going to say this. I like the Quebecers. I always have. I liked them ever since they came in September, well, like August of '93 or whatever. But their match with the Steiners on the Raw, like I've dug everything they've done. The match at Royal Rumble with Bret and Owen was really good. They should not lose the titles at WrestleMania 10. I would be alarmed into thinking that Men on a Mission will win, because Men on a Mission, they're over in New York. I think we've made that pretty clear. It's pretty obvious of it too. But Men on a Mission as the champions, I don't think there's enough heel teams to justify Men on a Mission being the champions, because really the only heel team is really the Quebecers. Meanwhile, the Quebecers do have other babyface teams to work with.
Excuse me, sir. The Head Shrinkers.
Yeah, but like I don't think they're an overly strong heel team.
Not really.
I mean, they haven't been presented strongly, I should say.
Exactly.
They're obviously a good team, but they're not.
They've been presented that way in a while.
They slipped on a fucking banana peel at Survivor Series. You know how much?
Yeah, it's been a while since you can take them seriously. And here's my problem with the whole thing. I'm not looking forward to the Quebecers Men on a Mission match, not only because I don't like either team, but I think Men on a Mission are going to win. And I really don't want that to happen, because it's essentially a one-man team, if that.
You know? I would rather the Quebecers win.
Yes.
Right. At Mania 10, they beat Mo, whatever. And then if you want to drag it out till August or something, or like maybe King of the Ring, whatever.
Yeah.
Have them lose the Smoking Guns or something. Like
really?
Yeah. Because I mean, I think the Guns deliver like on house shows when they are given time.
Right.
So I would have like the Guns win them at King of the Ring or something, and then do Guns Shrinkers at SummerSlam.
Oh, okay.
Put the belts on the head shrinkers.
Okay.
Do a couple of title changes, but that's way into the future. I don't know why. I just did a fantasy booking like right now, but
I could see that. Yeah, but I'm really nervous that that's the direction they're going to go in.
Yeah, like I like Man on a Mission. Like I still think they should have styrofoam, boom boxes to sell to the crowd, because I think I would have bought one, but I don't think they're a tag team champion act, let alone winning at WrestleMania 10. At least not at this point. You know, like if they, I don't know, like Mo is really the problem here.
He's the sinking ship. Although I really don't like Oscar either.
Oscar's annoying as all hell.
Yeah,
this is basically just Mabel. Like Mabel
he's tolerable.
Yeah, Mabel should be the world champion.
Oh no!
Give him all the belts.
No,
he's my new Scott Steiner.
Oh,
so give Mabel all the belts. Have him be Alundra Blaze. He can be the women's champion. Give him a wig. And his name could be Maybelette.
Sable.
There you go. Sable. Perfect.
Yeah,
he can win all the belts.
No.
Not a big deal.
No.
And we'll go from there.
Absolutely not.
I think it's a genius idea.
No, I don't think. Put it this way. For me, neither team offers me much.
Yeah.
So
I think Mabel's going to come out in the ladder match, climb the ladder, take both the titles.
Hit the razor's edge off the ladder.
Yeah. Jump off the ladder, hit a Sweet Chin Music in midair.
Obviously, who else is going to do that?
Nobody.
Right.
And then he'll have all the belts. This is perfect. I can't wait for WrestleMania.
I think you've already watched WrestleMania 10 and you're giving spoilers away.
Yeah, you're right. I just recently watched it. I was super excited and I can't hold it anymore.
Well, there you go, folks. You heard it here.
Yeah, there's a great 35-minute match between Adam Bomb and Earthquake too. So
you better get a badass entrance at WrestleMania.
Well, we'll see how that goes next week on WrestleMania 10. But here we got the interview with Randy Savage, which took place earlier in the day. And Savage says that nobody will bar him from WrestleMania 10 because he's going to get his dignity back. Oh, yeah, going to get my dignity back. You see that, McMahon? Yeah. Savage notes that he had Yokozuna beat for the WWF World Championship. And he worked hard for that opportunity. Savage knew that Yoko was done and he would have been champion for a third time. He believes that he would have beat Luger and Bret Hart at WrestleMania. He says that Crush screwed him over and somebody close has done that to him in the past. That's in reference to Hulk Hogan.
Brother.
Crush knew how to hurt him, and that is going to cost him. Savage has had a passion to be the champion for a third time. Savage says that Vince and Crush can't take away what he's accomplished to get another shot at the title. Savage promises to get Crush at Mania. He has gone through a divorce and friends stabbing him in the back. Again, a reference to Hulk Hogan. Savage will spring on Vince, Crush, and Tony. And he doesn't know if he'll get a shot at the WWF World Championship ever again. He doesn't have the chance to win the title, but he does have the chance to be who he is at WrestleMania against Crush. The sun is coming down on Crush at WrestleMania 10. Savage is going to beat Crush and embarrass him. And Savage guarantees that he will leave with his dignity and declares that the interview with McMahon is over.
I think, and remember our memory, keep that in mind, because it's shit. I think this is the best interview segment we've seen so far. Savage is deadly serious. He's in all black backstage with Vince. And he lets Vince maybe get in a sentence or two, but Savage does all the talking. He's fucking boiling over with madness, I guess you could say. And it felt so legit. Like, this is how Savage is really feeling. He should be the one taking on Bret and beating both Bret and Lex at WrestleMania. And, you know, despite the divorce and despite maybe some politics with Hogan, Savage feels like he needs to prove to himself and maybe prove to everybody else that he can still get shit done. And even though he's not going to have the opportunity for the championship at WrestleMania and, what have you, he has the opportunity to be himself and knows who he can be. And he questions Crush, and he's not sure if Crush has any idea who Crush is. And he says that Crush is just basically right now basking in his glory, and he's expecting him to knock him down a few pegs at WrestleMania. And when Savage stands up out of the chair And he goes, interview over, done. Stands from his chair, exits the room. That's why Randy Savage is one of the greatest of all time. He takes the promo over. He weaves in personal issues into the storyline that kind of is a little bogus. I mean, let's be real. The stuff with him and Crush isn't like life-threatening, and they've kind of spun it that way. 10 out of 10. Big fan. Big fan of this.
Yeah, it's a great promo or whatever, but it's not the greatest one that we've ever sat through. I can't believe you would say that.
What's the greatest one you've seen so far?
You know which one is the greatest one.
Well, other than that one.
That's the one.
That one is pretty good.
That's the only. Nothing will ever defeat Lex Luger trying to tell me.
Oh, no. That ain't the one I'm thinking of.
What are you one thing? Are you thinking about the Mania 9 one? March to WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Last year? No, that's great. Yeah, right. So this one's the third best for me because that's the number one.
No.
The Luger like 4-part series where he's like, I couldn't ask out a girl. I was nervous, socially awkward. My dad made me make friends. I only took steroids when I like needed to use them, like when I was hurt.
He made us eat pizza rolls once a week. Like every other night of the week, he cooked dinner. Like who does that?
Yeah, what? He was like, you know what? You need to learn an instrument. And I was like, fuck you, Dad. Nobody likes the flute. But I did it. And I was
asked for a Bentley. He bought me an Audi. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad, you dick.
I played in the NFL.
I don't know.
I played in the NFL, even though technically I was never on the field.
I got the jersey though.
Yeah.
So
just that, come on, that would be the best. This is like, in terms of legitimately good promos, yes, this is at the top.
Okay. Oh, thank you. That's what.
But for what we've ever heard in terms of pure entertainment, Hulk Hogan in the pool with the mermaids and sharks, and Jimmy Hart and smashing Brutus Beefcake with the title belts to make sure that they're metal or whatever. And then Lex Luger's 5-part series or however long it was of him describing his childhood and the trials and just everything that he had to go through with his dad, who was
bringing.
Yeah, which his dad seems like a pretty good guy, all things considered. Those are by far the best.
Well,
not even remotely close.
I guess we tend to disagree.
Yeah.
But for sheer skill, I give it to Savage here. This was he knocked it out of the park. He helped reignite the fire of this feud with this one fucking segment.
Well, and what I like too is when he like comes out, or not when he comes out, when he leaves the segment, and you can hear him in the background like, "It's over. That's it.
Yeah,
I ain't talking anymore."
Yeah,
that's the same thing he did at like WrestleMania 8 after he won the belt and he was talking to Gene. He's like, I won whatever, and then Gene's like sending it back, and he's like, "It's over. Yeah, Flair, dig it." You know, you can hear him just going down the hallway.
Yeah,
still ranting and raving about it.
Right. Yeah, and it just helps sell the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was I really wanted to put this over because I liked it a lot.
No, it is. It's a very good promo. I'm surprised that's not something we saw on Raw, where maybe more people would have seen it.
I'm surprised this isn't something that is widely remembered for Savage at this time. I've never seen this before. This is my first time seeing this.
Yeah.
And it threw it back to classic Randy Savage promos that are fucking gold. This was gold. I don't know. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Makes you wonder why Savage is just a commentator.
Literally, dude. Like, what the fuck are they thinking?
Let's not get too frustrated. We've been handling that pretty well.
I know, but they
wrestle. But after this, I don't think we see him wrestle again.
Yeah.
But who we do see wrestle several more times over is Tatanka. Remember, he got a headdress. He's kind of a big deal now. He cried. A lot of people can relate to him because, everybody gets a headdress from their tribes.
And cries.
And cries about it in the ring.
Right.
In Bushkill, Pennsylvania, or wherever it was.
Yeah.
Because he's in the main event of this special. It is WWF World Champion Yokozuna taking on Tatanka in a non-title match. Very, very important to point that out. All right, Johnny Polo. Using the sound machine.
Could you imagine if Tatanka wins the belt and it's Tatanka Lex Luger
He can't. It's non-title.
at WrestleMania?
He can't win it. It's non-title.
Well, they blew it.
That would have been hilarious, though. He wins here to win the title, and then Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10 is like, Tatanka!
And jobs out to him.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome, dude. It's the headdress.
Tatanka, you're going down.
It's the fucking headdress. And then Jack Tunney's got to make it illegal because he's too strong.
The headdress is illegal?
Yeah, he can't wear it anymore.
Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's okay. Well,
Don't steal my idea for your booking, Bobby.
I'm not. I did not write it down right now and using that.
What's that
Tatanka,
notepad?
undefeated for the next 6 years because of his headdress.
What's that notepad, dude?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this IcoPod notepad that you can get on Redbubble. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's currently pinned on our Facebook page. If you go ahead and take a gander, we also have tapestries, mugs, t-shirts, and phone cases available now.
Check it out. All right, here we go. Tatanka gets distracted by Fuji, and that allows you. Gotta get it.
You gotta buy it.
Gotta buy it. There you go. Tatanka gets distracted by Fuji, and that allows Yoko to have the early advantage. Tatanka ducks a clothesline and a few overhand chops. Yoko elbows Tatanka, but misses an elbow drop after absorbing a few strikes. Tatanka misses a drop kick, and Yoko misses an elbow drop. Tatanka comes off the top to hit a crossbody for a 2 count. Yoko misses a wild strike, but a knee lift takes Tatanka down to the mat. Yoko sends Tatanka to the floor after a nerve hold. Yoko takes the turnbuckle pad off as we go to commercial. Yoko scoop slams Tatanka, and then he keeps control with stomps and goes back to the nerve hold. Tatanka tries to battle back, but is met with a clothesline. Tatanka rams Yoko into the exposed buckle, and Yoko falls down. Tatanka has the cover, but Yoko gets his shoulder up at 2. Tatanka comes off the ropes with a few overhand chops, and he goes to the top rope to hit another overhand chop. After a brief delay, Yoko crashes to the mat, and that gets Tatanka a 2 count. Tatanka tries for the end of the trail, which, mind you, is a Samoan drop.
Yeah.
So he's deadlifting Yokozuna onto his shoulders to then try to slam him down to the mat. Mind you, again, Yokozuna is about 550 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it should come to no surprise that Yoko is just too heavy, and that doesn't work. Yoko plants Tatanka with a belly-to-belly suplex, and then Yoko goes to the middle rope and hits the bonsai drop for the clean win. So, awesome. I'm going to ask you this before we get into what we thought about it. Is this technically Tatanka's first clean loss? Because remember, he lost to Ludwig Borga back in October of 93, but that was by no means a clean loss. And I don't recall another time in which Tatanka, on television at least, was pinned. But this is definitely a clean loss. Like, no involvement from Fuji. Tatanka, maybe his brain got distracted with the headdress, thinking he had the superpowers that he does not have, going for the end of the trail Samoan drop. And then Yoko just pins him. So I think this is the first clean loss that Tatanka ever had.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because as I was watching this match and as I was thinking about kind of the history between Yoko and Tatanka, because there's a little bit of a history there.
Yes.
I really wished that this was Tatanka's first loss officially ever. Could you imagine the momentum that would have boosted? Going in as you're looking at, again, Yokozuna as the third wheel. But hold up, wait a minute. He just beat Tatanka and broke the undefeated streak. Holy fuck, he ain't done yet. Like, this is still Yokozuna we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a huge momentum thing for him.
Huge. So I was really wishing that was the case. Although to see clean win here, a solid match for the main event, Tatanka Yoko, I was still cool with it. one stupid thing I wanted to point out, because I kind of chuckled when he said it, is Polo called the Samoan drop Tatanka went for the wigwam bomb, which I have to admit I laughed.
Who Polo said that?
Yeah, he called it the wigwam bomb.
Oh my god,
which is not bad. I'll give him props for that. I did chuckle. Okay, you got me. But yeah, these two really kind of put some work in for this main event. They made it worth watching. I was surprised, but then again, not, because these guys have had decent matches in the past. I don't know where the chemistry comes from and how it works, but it kind of does. And that was the case here again. I think, Bob, you hit it the nail right on the head here as far as the clean win. You know, that's still a big momentum boost for Yoko, because Tatanka is still one of them guys who's pretty heavily featured on episodes. As case in point, the fucking headdress ceremony that they just had. So I was okay with it. I enjoyed the match. It could have been a lot worse, so I'm glad it wasn't. With that said, shall we go into the closing here?
Well, I just want to say I thought it was a solid match as well, for the most part.
Yeah,
a little bit of the nerve hold stuff by Yoko,
of course,
down you a little bit, but
of course,
some quality stuff. And I kind of think when you incorporate the headdress segment and this loss, I kind of think that in a babyface role for Tatanka, this could be the beginning of the end.
That's a good point. Yeah,
I don't think the headdress thing. Yeah, that did not connect.
No,
with anybody.
No.
And now you lose to the world champion clean, as we've mentioned a couple times now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're staying babyface, you're a mid carder.
Yeah,
like a low level
at best.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, look, he's in the fucking 10-man tag, right?
Right.
Last year, he was in a featured IC title match with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
That's quite a drop. So I think that's a fair point to make too. The headdress was, I don't know, maybe a way to revamp Tatanka and be like, hey, he's going to be better than ever because he's got this newfound honor that he's going to fight for, and then loses to Yokozuna. So I think that's a good point to make. You're probably right. And am I super disappointed? Can't say that I am.
Well, you can even trace this back to Survivor Series, because wasn't he the guy that was replaced by like Taker or somebody?
Yeah.
Was he not? Yeah, because he was taken out at the Superstars or whatever.
Yeah. So they show there's not too much faith.
Yeah, there's not much investment here.
Yeah.
For Tatanka, which you got to feel bad for the guy, I guess. But
right.
Now after the match, Tatanka is helped backstage, so there's no like Tatanka getting his heat back or anything. He's escorting to the back, like you're.
Yeah.
We got a WrestleMania 10 hype video, which again, WrestleMania takes place on March 20th. This is the Broadway show one that you do not like.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Vince McMahon promotes the WrestleMania 10 show as being the biggest one to ever take place, probably until next year. Monsoon thinks that Yokozuna will win both matches against Luger and Bret Hart. Stan Lane thinks that Luger will pin Yoko and then beat Bret Hart. Johnny Polo predicts that Bret Hart will be the new WWF World Champion. And I will be honest with you, that shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah. Like
that Johnny Polo, the heel, picks the face to win.
No, yeah. I didn't think that made sense at all.
No.
It should have been fucking Gorilla puts Bret over, Lane puts Luger over, and Polo puts Yoko over. Like, why did they not do that?
Yeah.
That was stupid.
That blew my mind. I was like, how, what? I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But maybe these guys were doing like their shoot answers.
Well, Polo's been in Yoko's camp before. With Cornette and the Quebecers and all these fucking guys. So I don't know. It just was way off kilter. Like, what are you talking about?
Maybe this is a face turn for Johnny Polo.
That's what I think it was. Yeah.
I knew it. SummerSlam 94. Polo, Yoko.
Polo, Yoko.
Polo, Yoko.
Yo, Polo.
And then you're going to have Virgil coming, yo, bro. So it's going to be the Polo versus Yoko versus yo, bro. And it's going to be a triple threat match.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That a lot. One thing I didn't like, though, the special
Oh, boy.
Must see WrestleMania 10 Men on a Mission wrap package.
Now, if I can find this will be probably closing this episode, by the way.
Well, if you can, fast forward then, folks, because basically what this was footage cut in of like past WrestleMania moments with pretty much horrible elementary school level rhymes wrapped in by Oscar and the gang. They mention Hollywood's cream of the crop. Yeah, okay. They're on the outside of MSG, rocking back and forth. They mention the story between Savage and Crush. You know, Adam Bomb is referenced, Shawn Michaels, Razor, several of the other matches. And they say that they're going to rock WrestleMania 10. The one thing I could think of while watching this is basically the New Day.
Yeah.
Just a trio of like annoying dancing African-American males with a mid-card hype man.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Like this
That's a really funny yeah, no, you're right.
And I don't like the New Day, and I don't like Men on a Fucking Mission. So for me, for such a solid show, to just leave it off on that note, man, that's like eating your favorite sandwich, only to realize that on the last bite, there's like a smear of shit on the bread. Like, what the fuck?
That's funny you say that, because one time I had a ham sandwich.
Here we go.
It's funny you say that. One time I had a ham sandwich. I was at my buddy's house. I had a ham sandwich. It was really, really good, right? And I go to have the last bite, and there's a piece of mold on it.
No,
on the bread.
Fuck.
And my buddy's mom, I was like, I don't even know, like 13 or 14. My buddy's mom was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And she just got me another piece of bread, but I didn't trust the bread.
Right.
So like if you see one piece of mold,
Yeah.
you're in danger. So
yeah, chances are it's spread.
Yeah, it's likely not a good thing. So
yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where I was at with the old WrestleMania 10 wrap. Bob, is this on your iPod to this day or what?
No, but if I'm telling you, I'm going to look for it, and it's going to be part of our closing routine here. Maybe for every WrestleMania that we talk about, I will incorporate it into the finale. The final part.
Then we'll make this the last one then.
Great. Sounds like a great night. Well, considering how WrestleMania 11 is, maybe it's better off if we just end the show on this one.
Can we just not talk about that, please?
All right. Well,
we'll just not talk about that. As far as the whole show here, to kind of put a bow on this, other than the wrap at the end, of course, I thought that it was action-packed, and it was really slim on BS, which I appreciate always. We got a few good promos here on this episode. Bret Hart, Randy Savage. Solid enhancement match bouts for, Quebecers, Quake, you could say. If I was watching this live, I would have probably ordered the pay-per-view early following this show. I was sold way more than I was, and we talked about this, than I was for WrestleMania 9. I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania 10. Historically, it's kind of one of my, I hate to say this, but I say it's kind of one of my guilty pleasures for a WrestleMania. I love the appearance, and again, I've said this before, the X stage that opens up when you walk out, the lighting, the colors, the black and gold, the MSG backdrop. It's just a really cool looking pay-per-view. Plus you add the matches in, some classic matches in on WrestleMania 10, and you have a recipe for a really good one. And I don't think it gets enough praise that it might deserve. So following out of this, I'm sold. I'm buying the pay-per-view, and I'm full steam ahead. I want to watch it right now.
Yeah, for a special, I thought it was rather strong. You got Crush and Bret and Yoko and Tatanka both delivering entertaining matches. Savage promo done extremely well. This is an example of where a special adds to your excitement for the big event, which is exactly what you want.
Yes.
So like if I was on the edge of like, I don't know if I should buy this or not, after watching this, I'm like, I'm buying it. Like exactly what you said. But even leading into this, it's like something I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
So when you're already like, I want to watch it, and then you watch a show like this, then you're like, why isn't it happening today?
Yes.
I gotta wait another week for this crap,
Exactly. And
So,
I would suggest that the next time you feel up and in the mood for a 90s WrestleMania, do yourself a favor. If you're going to sit down and watch WrestleMania 10, go on the network, watch this special first. Because again, I think with context, especially for me this time as we roll into next week, it made the world of difference. WrestleMania 9, it definitely helped and it definitely boosted. But WrestleMania 10, night and day with context. Night and day. Context, I think, really, really helps with the feuds because remember last year's WrestleMania, the feuds had a very short build.
Yeah.
It was like, here they are, here's WrestleMania. We've been building some of these singles matches here for WrestleMania 10 for months. For at least sometimes half a year.
one of them is since July of 93.
Right. So more than a year for some of them.
Well, no, July 93 and March of 94 is not a year, but yeah.
Wait, what?
July of 93 to March of 94 is not more than a year.
Yeah, it is.
July of 93
July.
till March of 94 is not a year.
I'm thinking Bob keeps saying January 93.
July.
March.
That's probably why you think I'm 43 years old, because for you a year is like 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
probably.
perfect. There
Or
you
I'm just distracted by your hat that you never wear hats, and I'm not hearing exactly what you're saying.
go. I am wearing my New York Mets hat because I am a renowned Mets fan.
And writer.
Renewed. And writer. I'm such a good writer. I couldn't even think of the right word. I am a renewed New York Mets fan.
Yeah.
I watch more of the AAA games than I do the Major League team, but that's okay.
Well, there you go. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm glad we were on the same page here, Bob, for this one. I would say it was a stronger March to WrestleMania than last year's, and that's saying something because that show again was better than the pay-per-view itself. So if that's any indication, we're at least in for a pretty solid WrestleMania. I hope it surpasses that, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. I don't know. There's nothing really much to add to this March to WrestleMania 10 show. It's a good show.
Watch it.
Yeah, it's a great. Like, if you don't want to watch all the Raws leading into it, just watch this for the hour and a half that it is, and then you'll be ready to go to watch WrestleMania 10, which is exactly what you want. I don't think WrestleMania 9 would have had the same effect. Maybe it would have, but not nearly to the magnitude that this one does.
I agree. I agree with you.
Okay. Well, you should agree with me. So it's part of the contract.
I don't.
It's part of the contract that you signed that you always would agree. So
Yeah, I'm ripping it up as we talk.
And then again, another big thing I want to point out here is Austin praised the Crush match. It happened. Document it.
Mark it on your fucking calendar.
Mark it on your fucking calendar. Sure, it was with Bret Hart, arguably one of the greatest wrestlers ever.
Who could have a match with a fucking candlestick and get a 5-star rating?
Yep. And he's also praised Tatanka on this podcast.
Well,
which were two of my major goals. If you go back to like episode 1, I was like, you're going to like Tatanka and Crush. And then Austin was like, fuck that. No, I'm not. And then here we are.
I don't like him.
65 episodes in, and we got him.
Nah, I don't like him.
We did it, guys. We did it.
Nope. Don't like him.
Yeah, whatever. All right. So I don't know if you got anything else here for episode 65, Austin, because I know we got to record another about 2.5 hours of WrestleMania 10 tonight.
Yeah, we're not going to delay. I'm ready for WrestleMania, man. I'm fucking pumped. Right. I got my ticket in hand. We're heading down to Times Square right now. We're in the taxi, ready to fucking go.
This Uber bill is about $1,500.
Yeah, so let's get the show on the road, baby.
All right. Well, you know what? There's no sense in delaying it anymore, because I'm sure everybody listening to us like, I can't wait for next week's episode. And all right, so here we go. For Austin Skinner, I'm Bob Conley Jr., and this has been another episode of IcoPod.
And we will see you at WrestleMania 10.
The WWF will rise to the town. We got stars galore, we got stars galore. You're gonna see a show like never before. The mission is the title that we will win, but we're all gonna rock WrestleMania 10. Here we got Hollywood's cream of the crop. Here's the list, and it's hot, hot, hot. We got Burt Reynolds from Evening Shade. It's Smokey in the Bandit. He had it made. We got Ron the Sheer from Up All Night. WrestleMania 10 is out of sight. We got Little Richard in the place to be. We got Donnie Wahlberg, a.k.o. TV. Head club for men. Yo, we got Stop Throwing. Hair will be weaving, corn rolling and curling. We got Jenny Go from 90210. She'll be ringing the bell if you really want to know. We got stars galore. We got stars galore. You're going to see a show like never before. The mission is the title that we will win, but we all gonna rock WrestleMania 10. The hurdles at the Mania are gonna be hard. Check it out now, cause here's the card. Lex goes against Yoko, he'll tear him apart. But the winner of that match will face Bret Hart. Bret goes against Owen, they'll fight one another. It'll be a clash, man, brother versus brother. Bret better be aware, but what's that hand? He's in for the fury of the Macho Man. Adam Bob's in the house, he's going to shake, cause he must face the mighty earthquake. Shawn Michaels and Razor. This one matters most. I see them at the top of the ladder. Lay Ronnie Kai must be in a daze. She must face Alundra Blaze. Stork and Dink, you know they like the joke. Bam Bam and Luna might go up in smoke. We got stars galore, we got stars galore. You're gonna see a show like never before. The mission is the title that we will win, but we're all gonna rock WrestleMania 10. Men on a mission, know it's ready to crush. The Quebecers have the belts, but they must meet us. We got one more match, this one's in the bag. 10 men in the ring for a 10-man tag. It's gonna be a gala, it's coming to you next Sunday, March 20th on pay-per-view. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't stop, you don't stop, man on a mission, yeah, you don't stop. Oh.